What is going on, everyone? Welcome, and it is Monday, July 20th, 2026, Trading Trends with John Salama, CMT, and Rocco, the Maltese dog here. And yes, he is sporting Argentina. He's a big Messi fan. He's a pretty messy guy. But Spain, better team won yesterday. Okay. Yeah, short week last week for me. Apologies for that. I was a little bit under the weather. But we did have the meeting on Wednesday. It was great. The next one, I'll let you know, it's going to be at Connolly's I'm sorry, not Connolly's, Ulysses on Wednesday, August 19th. So come on out if you're a trader. We talked about all the important things, as you can imagine. All right, let's get into it. Interesting recap again. I've been doing a bunch of overlays here with Chinese tech and crypto, and it really is looking, they move together, and I'm saying that through strength and through weakness. So let's get into it. That's a bit of the highlight today, but bonds are moving. We'll take a look here this Monday morning. China and Ethereum, the big talk of the town this morning, jumping about 3%. We've been on China saying, it's just a signal for now, but wait basically for the all clear, in my opinion, to go above the 200-day moving average. But you could put on some spec trades. I already highlighted a bunch of either selling July puts into expiration, which was Friday, or buying some October upside and subsidizing against it. And while Biotechs, bonds, and volatility having a nasty day today, volatility absolutely cratering. You looked at the VIX futures and you looked at VXX, both down anywhere between 3 and 6%. I'm looking at VXX. We'll take a look at all the important charts of the day. Bonds going significantly lower today. We'll take a look at TLT and Biotechs. I got stopped out of ARKG with a profit, thankfully, as Biotechs, that massive run that it's had, is now being digested. All right, let us get to the important charts of the day. Let's go to the dashboard panel here. See if I remember how to do this. It's a gorgeous day outside too, so hopefully get on out very soon after I do this. All right, we'll get to SPY in a moment. Micron, it's really depends what day you wake up. They're either loving the semis or they're hating the semis. Today they're loving the semis. They've been loving them all year for the most part. Micron up 4.5%. My goodness. Nvidia not feeling that kind of love. Apple down 3. AMD up 2.5. Tesla down 2. Intel up 4, like I said, just so if you're on the right side, especially of that semi complex. Microsoft up 2, SpaceX down 1. That is an all-time low / 1.5 month low for SpaceX. Very volatile name. The whole NASA group has been really obliterated in the past week, specifically that poster child. Google up 2, Amazon up 2, Marvel up nearly 5%. Big moves today in BITO, over 200. I think, what's the volume on this today? Massive volume. I know it seems pretty average, but over 300 million BITO. Bitcoin having a decent day. With Ethereum, it's had a good week actually. And Taiwan semi up 1%. Oracle down 3%. I think I saw that the CDS is the highest it's ever been. All right, let's get into the intraday tape. Forgive me on that. I'm not positive about that, but I did think I saw a headline about that. I pay attention to charts. So here we are. The morning was the best that it was. We got to 749. It looked like we were making a big run. And then shortly thereafter, literally at 10 a.m., we slipped under VWAP at that point, 746 quarter. And we hit lows at the 10:30, 11 a.m. And we got a little bit of a meerkat. Rise with me, Rocco. A little bit of a meerkat here, 12:30. Small, though, but 746 half. And now we are selling off again, up 20 bips. Let's get away from the intraday noise and let's get into the larger term. This is a 1-year chart for SPY. Boy. So the all-time high came back here at June 2nd, a month and a half ago now. A sloppy-looking W here, but it's holding here that midway point. A good-looking hammer here on the 26th with that day. And now what I said before was, looks like to me this is going to be a long rectangle saving energy somewhere between 760 and 725 for, I'm not a weatherman, that could be as long as it could. I still do claim that all the indices are going every which way, but when you see Vol Crater, I said this last week in the one video I did, wouldn't want to chase this tape, but anything that would corroborate me going higher would be an all-time high from any of the indices domestically. So Dow, IWM, Q, SPY, we didn't get that, I don't think, in the past week, or a new all-time low in VXX. We haven't gotten that either, but it's very, very close. So, pretty much chopping here. It pretty much, like you see here, 49 RSI, that's the neutral point. a little bit more buying pressure than selling, just given the backdrop. Look at this rising 200-day moving average. The entire year, this chart, SPY here, looks like the old gold chart. SPY has been a must-own all year. Say what you will about NVIDIA and the concentration scare and the hyperscalers are spending too much. SPY factually, quantitatively, has been an own all year, war schmore, s'mores, from March 20th through April 7th. That's it. That was about 2.5 weeks in time. You call it a correction, bear market, taco, Trump always chickens out, whatever. The market has been a must-own all year. I'm not changing my tune based on that. What I foresee for the SPY for the next 2 weeks, given on a cycle parameter, because I do, especially when the notes are like this, I really dig into the cycles. And for me, the near-term top was right around the July 15th. And typically, it's not exact. It's art and science. You'd have like a 15-day up, 15-day down. And that would, for me, say that we have more of a bearish distribution pattern for the next, through the 30th, which is about another 10 days. And we should chop around 746, which is a 21-day exponential moving average. We're $2 off that quote right here, right now. And with a floor, if things get amazingly volatile, 730. I don't foresee that happening. And I'm not just absolutely buying things up and up and up here. I'm still long cybersecurity stocks and small cap for those uncorrelated exposures. And that's my portfolio right here, right now. As I said, I got stopped at a biotech on Thursday or Friday. So that is my call here. I do have more bullish stances on the Dow, the IWM, and even the Qs. So it really is, in my opinion, a stock picker's market for this, especially the next 2 weeks, as it looks like the S&P might chop in this rectangle. Let's see where they're floating to here, where they're skating to the cup, because it's interesting. We've been talking about China. Let's get right to it. The largest multiple standard deviation mover on the board today, it's FXI. And let's take its temperature and look at the chart. Oh my goodness, look at these things. Okay, from June 26th was the bottom at $31. You caught a $4 or more than 10% move in a geographical ETF. That's hard to do, even given China vol or of anything here, really. So I've said before, this looks like to me, again, I'd rather be a lazy trader on this. You can buy calls. The candles still look very constructive. It's up 3%. You know the trend is getting tired when it's at least starting to having its moves, and it's not doing that just yet. It's up 1, up 3. Last week, it was even building on itself. So this is very constructive. It is at the upper Bollinger Band, though, for the first time since May 13th. When that happened, it put in the high interim. Before that, April 17th, that was the high in the short term, and then it went lower. So you have it right here, right now. I honestly had this on the cycles. If you even go back and look at the videos, I had about June 13th. You could F around and find out with this name, and that'll get you to about around July 15th for a top. And now you have this upper Bollinger Band pierce. So I personally would be chasing it here. I said this back here with that 33 handle $2 ago that you can try and flaunt with it. Decent little candle. I will say, if you want to, this is all chart pattern recognition and momentum. View up on the day at 1:10 p.m. here is 35.15, and they like that by about 7 cents. It is 7 cents off the high. So, and again, in terms of the chart here, look at this area here, all this price discovery that goes back from March, from the war here, with that, when that 35 handle is reached, and now it's at $35 again. Like I said, trying to hold it with gusto for the first time since essentially Memorial Day weekend. And China, props, kudos to it, is above 50 RSI since July 8th. So it's 12 days. And I know that may not seem like a lot, but that's interesting, impressive strength out of mainland China. And just in terms of stochastic momentum mix, it could go a little bit more in terms of itself. I'm seeing it from the candle. I think this gets it out 35.75, honestly, in the course of the next couple of days. And that is it. And then it mean reverts, not as horribly low, to about 33.5. This looks a little stronger than I intended, than I thought. I think this will probably get to about 33.5. So that is my outline here in terms of derivatives trades. I wouldn't just be straight up chasing, although I guess 0 DTE, if they're even available in FXI, I'm not sure, would be attractive because these candles look great. I don't think folks are exiting out of it right here, right now. It's absolutely risk on. I'm seeing the vol crater. Folks are getting into Ethereum. They're getting into China, Chinese internet, which we'll look at next. Let's look at KWEB next, in fact, for a little bit more under the hood. So now we're getting more granular. This is straight up Chinese internet. So here is obviously should be looking pretty similar. This group peaked last October and absolutely, truly fell out of bed at the end of January once it broke under 36.5. And then the 52-week low came as I said just less than a month ago, at $23 and a massive rip. 23 to 27 is $4. That's a massive move in percentage terms. So now here, what this has to me, this is really to me when I use as my confirm in terms of the FXI. Look at this oopsie that it had on July 16th. It went up to 27.75. That was view up at the day, and then they closed it just beneath it. And then it had an ugly slide the day after, down 2.5% on Friday, and today it's down 3%. Very curious and interested where it goes from here. A lot of, again, price discovery going into the end of March here when you get into this 28 handle. I think, so it's interesting. I think, well, we don't get paid to think. It appears to me in terms of the momentum that it's presented and similar internals, July 8th is when this crossed over the 50 RSI neutrality point. One will lead and the other will follow typically in Chinese internet. It's BABA, VIPS, JD, etc. All the big kahunas there. I'm just looking at the chart here, and you have an extremely heavy falling 200 moving average up there at 32.60. Not saying it's over by any stretch. I love turnaround stories, and this could be one. It's absolutely a risk-on global environment, but it's hitting a ceiling right here. So if you go on the trampoline, you do hit your head occasionally. And to me, after a massive $4 rip, it looks like to me that could be its point. I will be looking for view up on the day is 27.51. The high is 27.70. I want to see how much gusto this has into the close, and then the follow through into tomorrow morning, to be frank. Otherwise, I mean, if you're absolutely, I was going to say the word crazy, I don't really like it, but you could chase and do, October 28 calls or something like that. I personally don't like. I think this is getting very long in the tooth here. I'm almost stick to my old guns and say, you know what, wait for the close above the 200 moving averages with steady at that point and stabilize with higher pricing, and then you know that the algos will chase the strengthening this and then take it higher. But if you count those 4 points off the floor, congratulations. Let's look at something that more and more I'm seeing. Ethereum crypto is basically trading like Chinese tech. Take a look at this. This is from KWEB, and now we're going to put Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum a little bit weaker. It peaked last August, Chinese internet in October, and then fell out of bed in January, so about 2 months before Chinese internet, if I recall. And then lows coming pretty similar times. Actually, the same day, I believe. Chinese internet here, Ethereum has now had a very strong rip from 11.5 to 14. That's a massive, massive $3 swing. For Ethereum, it's up 3% today, exactly the same amount as Chinese internet and China. So it's almost like a program buy to buy it all. When I was talking about this as well, July 1st is when my cycle started. I sound like I was on my period there. That's probably so moody. No, when my cycle started. No, when Ethereum, just a couple days after low, when I see actually garnering strength, trying to put in above a lower RSI, a higher RSI than previous. So I had it on the first 15-ish day cycle, although this rubber band is much more volatile, so you have to give it, crazy dog a longer leash. No offense, Rocco. So this would take you to about the 16th with a ceiling of about 15 tops, and we're getting right about that right now. This is also corresponds with that oopsie that you had on the 15th with China, and look at right after the next day went down 3%, and now we're trying to get back there. So my call for Ethereum is pretty similar. I think it's falling into, it's heading into massive overhead here. I don't think it goes farther than this. I was saying this at the Amplified Alpha meeting on Wednesday night as well. I think this may try to get to a 15 handle, tops and Undertaker. That's it. And then more of a digestion of these massive gains back to the 13 handle. That's what the charts look like to me. But I know people are very much have a voracious appetite for being risk on right here. All right, let's get into what they're selling. What are they financing to get into these names? Oh, my old baby got out of this one last week. I'm glad I did. Down today, 3%. The Biotechs, an absolutely amazing move. I told you before what the stop loss was. I use an ATR. It's $1.66 there, and I double it, and that's it from the highest close. So straight up, well, let's just take this because it's the biggest bar. July 6th, the close was 43.57. ATR $1.70. Two of them were 350. Once I got I'm rounding. Once you got below 3 up to 40 even, I got out, and that was pretty much the call Here is $40, and exactly my story to you Thursday when I got out. Now, what I said this before, this would be a great thing for ARKG to absolutely stabilize. And now look at this. It gave up the ghost a little bit under 50 RSI, the lowest it's been since the end of May, ironically, a little bit. Give this a little bit of time to stabilize. I think the buyers will step in. I don't think they'll let it sink all the way down to the 50 just because it's that much of a strong performer. And strong performers typically don't fall to the 50. That sum is 36.80. I think that hangs in. It would be a steal if you got it there. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Look for this to probably put in its low right about from this area of the previous breakout here from June 22nd, right around, honestly, it looks probably around 37.5 is where it's going to be. I think that'll be a good setup. I actually like buying this under 40, but let it base here. You could get it cheaper. And then the target for August, the target for mid-August, I would have around $44. So a monster rip, and that's how these things move. I look to hopefully add it on again. For right here, let's see this come in a bit more. Okay. So the losers on the day, ARKG, and number 2 biggest loser, Volatility itself. My goodness. Look at this, down 2.8%. The all-time low VXX is 2083. We're $1 away from that right here, right now. So just a couple of percent away. In terms of the volatility chart, so again, you look at S&P being a buy all year. It's an inverse, basically, of course, right, of VXX. And the only time, if you're absolutely a doomer and you hope the world ends and whatnot, the only time that you had your moment in the sun, honestly, was probably during this period. Obviously, the war starts March 3rd, this crazy candle, and then when Trump announced the ceasefire, that was honestly April 7th. We haven't been above 50 RSI since. I'm not going to count this. It's a 51 fine. We had a big scare, I guess, on June 10th when vol shot up 6%, and that's it. And every time it's come to the surface of 50, it's sold off. What I'm anticipating here for the next about week or so is VXX to hang in around the 22 handle. I'm actually surprised how much it's come off today. You usually don't see a massive vol sell-off on a Monday, but down 3% is pretty significant. And I'm also looking at the S&P VIX futures, and that's down 6%, unless that's an error from the SIBO. I don't think it is. So the traders are absolutely unloading on vol today. What I'm expecting is for this to hang in about 22, maybe something with Iran, a scare here, an AI bot got in the water. I don't know. You could just make it up now. A refrigerator blew up and killed 10 people. I don't know. Everything's connected. And I possibly see this getting to that 50 RSI, which would correspond with tops 24 even on VXX. And that's what I'm seeing. It would probably put quite a bit of a fear in folks. Let me just confirm. Maybe not even that high, honestly. That, oopsie, was quite a Dikembe rejection here on July 8th. This thing was last time at sniffed 24. Back here at the end of June, tops 24, maybe more likely 23 to 24. But when it moves, it goes. Today, they're absolutely selling it. Down 3% is volatility. A large loser like Biotech, although at least Biotech had gains to digest. Volatility has just been going lower and lower and lower. And then third biggest loser. This is not, down 1% or more, but it's getting hit significantly. This actually is a 1 sigma mover in bonds, and that is something to note. Again, due to the relationship, prices on bonds go lower, yields go higher. We've been saying from last year, higher for longer, higher forever, basically. And that's why you're seeing, I think I saw a thing where new home or new sinks or have the lowest sales ever. Everything's frozen in terms of that, in terms of real estate. It's a mortgage play, and with the high rates, applications are lower. Looking at bonds here, strictly from the chart, I do expect this is an ugly looking candle today. Don't forget the 52-week low was on May 19th at 82.77. You're just $1 and change away from that right here. I do expect a dead cat bounce. I don't like playing dead cat bounces in terms of options, but I do expect a dead cat bounce towards 85 even for TLT, meaning, again, price goes up, yields will go lower. It would help, especially assets like we just said, specifically for ARKG Biotech Complex. So ugly looking candle. I wouldn't pour into it right here, right now. It's a 35 RSI. It'll sell first and then ask questions later. So it looks like dog poo. Rocco says he agrees. And extremely heavy 200-day moving average, extremely. June 25th, we got close, and the last time we closed above it was March, the week after the war, when we were clinging to risk, averse assets. So bonds absolutely getting hit today. You can look at TBT and obviously the leverage products. A lot of the preferred stocks, ETFs, bonds are lower, yield higher today. All right. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. This will be a good wrap up too, especially since we just had one video last week. The best performing ETF, I was saying this at the meeting Wednesday night, and still to right here, right now, as I write this, the best performing ETF, Ethereum. I'm not going to kick a dead horse because we just had it in the open in terms of trades and everything else, but it's the best performing ETF in the entire world. Okay, up 7.5% in the past 5 days, up for 1.5% and change a day. Today, garnering strength lets me know it's probably not done yet. Probably wants to get into this trafficy area of a 15 handle, and I think that's it. So if you're long, I think you have a little bit more gains to enjoy, in my opinion. That's what I said. Watch a trade over the weekend and see if that strength determines itself, and it has. And this one looks like it's very, very close to the end. I'm very interested in how this closes. Obviously, Ethereum and crypto is a 24-hour market. I want to see how the listed ETF market trades it. Again, live VWAP is 1423. They are gunning it here, 10 cents above that. So they're very risk on today's Ethereum. Next, let's go to a different flavor, IBIT. So IBIT had the second best performance, though it was back from Ethereum. Ethereum up 7.5% over the past week. IBIT 5.5%. So you gave up 2% in the spread there between the two. But a very strong week for IBIT. I don't remember the last time IBIT honestly was on my list for the strongest week of ETFs. This one to me honestly looks even clearer. So Ethereum is more of a gamble because it's had so much of a rally. This one looks like to me more of a, I don't want to say sure thing, but I have a different chart here on another data provider as well, different time frame. And it just looks like it wants to get to 38 to tops 39. So here's my cursor, and you're saying why. Again, just from a loser profile, the 50-day moving average is 37.70. I'm not shocked if it gets there. And then it also is dealing with this heavy traffic that it first discovered in early February. So I think Bitcoin has a little bit more to go through IBIT to the tune of about, as I said, about another $1 or so. So again, it was up 5% in the past week, 1% a day. Today, doubling that strength, right? So I think there's a little bit more to go. Careful, I'm sure folks will play some 0 DTEs and stuff like that. I think it makes sense. View up on the day the figure to look for is 36.81. As long as it holds that, I think you're gonna get your 37 handle and ultimately a 38 handle likely this week for Bitcoin. And then I think that's it. A couple ways it can go. Like I said, with Ethereum, it can stabilize and stay with that 37, 38 handle, at least hold above 36. I'll take that as a big W. James Winston eating those W's, the delicious dubs. And that's going to correspond with holding a 50 RSI as well. You want to see that all internal strength as it tries to make a race, a jump towards, please, I don't even want to say 46, but a boy can dream. So that's what I think for that. In terms of trades, you don't want to sell those upside calls, not with candles like this. And I don't think the bottom is going to give way. Absolutely. Again, the 52-week low for this is 32.84. You could. I don't think you're going to get paid to sell 32 puts. I don't want to really sell anything above that here for this because I'm not a super believer. I'll even say believer after the halftime show yesterday. Everything hallelujah. But yeah, I that's my call here. It has a little bit more to go to me, Bitcoin over Ethereum, just due to the catch up. Okay, and the last one, I did this in the opening as well. Dude, so the day's trades are pretty much the flavor of the weeks. The traders are just plugging in essentially the same old game. The third best trade on the board from the past week is China, and they're just rolling that back in today, Monday. What's the biggest gainer today? China. So, some people say, oh, do you have your, high-frequency trading and all this? Sometimes you don't really need it. You can look at a 5-day and then chase it on Monday, and if the momentum's there, you can still get in, just like Jane Street and Citadel and everyone else. So this is the same name as we opened with, so I'm not going to bludgeon here. All right, next, top 3 losers of the past 5 days. I have not seen this chart in a long time, actually. Uranium, and that's why, because I don't pay attention to big losers like this. But I remember writing a lot. Uranium, the year, 2026 is going to be the year of uranium. And this thing's not looking too good right here. And I put that on pause right here, honestly. Once you break a 200-day moving average, not a lot of things happen. And really, this is starting to go southward. The 200-day moving average, it is going south. Flat, I'll take. Going lower, that's ugly movement, and that's why you are getting very close to a 52-week low in uranium. It's absolutely amazing. Look for this debase. I don't want to catch this falling knife right here. Uranium down 5% in the past 5 days, or 1% a day. Today, trying to do a little bit better. This thing was an absolute star. Showed a little bit chinks in the armor, when the war started, but who wasn't? And then fell out of bed June 5th with this 10% collapse. And it honestly hasn't even seen 50 RSI since, and it is on the cusp of being oversold for the first time all year, on its way what looks like to be potentially a 52-week low. Look for this one, the base. I think it should not break below a 38 handle, just due to the weakness it's seen, honestly, since $47. This has been on June 22nd. This has been a straight line down for a month, essentially. 47 to 38. Yikes. And that's how you get RSI measures like that, just flatlining and everything. Good Lord. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think this is going to be a dead cat bounce to about $42 to $43 in the next couple of 2 to 3 weeks. So, yikes. All I can say on that. Tough one. I would almost rather wait for this to get to $42 and then buy the puts, or you're going to be in the money if this good thing goes under 37.70 intraday in the next day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. If this thing goes under 37.70, I can't help but think it is headed to a new 52-week low, and that was at 35.60. So uranium on the mat here, on the ropes, and looks like soon to be on the mat. That's the biggest loser of the past week. So they've been saying, get me out of this uranium thing. It's interesting because what did we exit before? Ethereum, crap tech, right? IBIT, Bitcoin, crap tech, China, let's get out. Now they're saying, hey, you know what? I'm not such a believer. Maybe we don't really need all this uranium right now, or maybe I'm a little bit, the speculators and the hedgers have too much inventory, and let's get into these under-allocated assets like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and China. That's exactly what we're seeing. So uranium, a losing profile right here. I do that from the scorecard of being under a falling 200-day moving average. And then number 2, loser of the week. Yikes. And I said this, I alluded to this in the video last week. I said, I bet you I get taken out of ARKG very soon, in the coming day or two. Exactly what happened. I gave you my stop earlier in the segment. ARKG, the second worst performer of the week, right behind uranium, 5% also, down 1% a day. Today, garnering strength to that trend, down 3%. Lets me know it wants to maybe, again, like I said, head towards that 37 handle, and I think that might be it. And then the last one, loser for the week. I haven't been in this one for a while. Taiwan, obviously very correlated with Taiwan Semiconductor and tech and semis. This name has really had quite the fall from its all-time highs here. June 22nd, $113. I'm rounding. And then a fall all the way to $95 on Friday. So quite a, I don't want to say collapse, quite a move down. Again, look at how extended it is for 200-day moving average. They have really kind of, I don't want to say exited it, but we are under 50 RSI demonstrably here, 40 for EWT. I would look for this one to base. I think it's honestly going to hold the 95 handle. I think I like what I'm seeing today. This has been down 5% in the past week, an average of 1% a day. Today also doing that, so I don't think it's ready just yet, but I like that it's sticking 95 on Friday. Today's low is also 95, closer to 96 actually, and now we're trying to get to 96.5. I think 95 is the lowest handle it's going to be, and this is a star. I don't see real significant chinks in this armor just yet. I'm looking for a bounce in this one towards, honestly, at least 102 in the next 2 weeks, if not 107. So really getting closer to the all-time highs. Again, look at that. Just going back to the China thing earlier, you get one upper Bollinger Band visit. It's very hard to have 2, 3, 4 in a row. You have to have a euphoria buying. You need everyone on the side of the boat, almost to the point where it's going to tip over. And this point here, you didn't even get to a 70 RSI. You don't have that kind of confirmed strength internally, and then boom, you get to the 50. So a little bit of a lesson inside technicals, inside baseball, inside technicals. All right, so that's Taiwan. Wait for it to base. I think it's close, and I think the race to 103, 102 is on. All right, top 3 trades of the past 5 days, and maybe the traders are being copycats, and it's the same playbook this week. Long Ethereum, long IBIT, long FXI, dominated last week. all up 5%. Could be the same case this week. We'll see. We're thinking a couple of them. Ethereum getting close to hitting its head. IBIT, I think, has a little bit more to go. And then China, we already talked about. Top 3 trades. I love this part. Year over year from last July 20th through this July 20th. Top performing trades in the entire world. Number 1 in your hearts and mine. South Korea, Anyang, up 129% year over year. That's number 1 for all ETFs. Congratulations to Ishares in that one. Something that's a little bit fearful, I will say, in South Korea. So looking at the internals and a lot of yellow lights. I don't want to say red lights, but literally a lot of yellow slowed down lights here. Just as of July 1st, I'm not loving what I'm seeing here in terms of the breakdown. It got rejected here on July 6th, and it hasn't visited that 190 figure since. And now, as you can see here, hit a low of 154 on Friday. Rising 200 moving average, although with a lot less slope than it had. And again, this is what I'm saying, from July 1st, this also has not visited a 50 RSI. So they're not clamoring for South Korea right here. This, I'm not going to say I expect it to base. I kind of need this one to base above 160 with a little bit more gusto. So this one's up 130%, 129 over the past year, okay? Look at the chart. I mean, it speaks for itself. The lowest point was last August at $70. You got yourself a 2-bagger in just a single stock. I also read something insane like 5% or 3% of South Koreans in the country got margin called on Thursday due to this decline. So you talk about the gens. I respect the hustle, South Korea. Anyang a long time. But you got to be careful when folks are all the way on one side of the boat. That's how you get a 2x return in a geographical ETF. Very hard to do. This isn't silver miners. This is actual like Samsung and Hynix. So pretty amazing. What else? So in terms of setup here, I don't like the weakness here. Honestly, this is the weakest it's been in terms of the decline. It came close when it had this kind of this hangover from February, much war-driven earlier, but it did collapse from 152 to 115, and then it still rallied. This is very similar decline from 220 to 160, very similar in terms of percentages. So I expect this one to base. I'll give a dog a bone. Shout out to Rocco. I expect this one to hang in, but again, so today's up 1.5%. These movements are important internally, even on a quiet summer day. View up on the day is 164.89. It's above it by 10%. The appetite for South Korea for right here is the past 3 weeks has, I don't want to say evaporated, but it's definitely gone to a different part of the shopping mall. Okay, they're not just bringing this to the sky. It's been the story from the second half of 2025 to the first half of 2026 has been South Korea. That's why we're talking about it. Up 129%. What I am saying, though, is the past 3 weeks have been somewhat unprecedented for it. So yellow lights on South Korea. In terms of trades, I still think it's going to get to 182 in the next 2 weeks, but that's just nothing for that. This is like LeBron putting 30 points, even at his age. So, but after that, I want to see what trend computes and what follows through. Convergence of moving averages at 180 is one of the reasons why I also gave that. It's your 21-day exponential, and it corresponds with the 50 RSI neutrality point. So I don't think it's going to be that hard for it to get there. If you want to get it, it's on sale right here, right now. EWI options are not super liquid. You could look down the October 180 calls. These things are super expensive. Sell some August ahead of it, whatever the front month is. That's EWI, number 1 trade of the entire year. South Korea, congrats to you if you picked it up last summer. I was presenting on it literally in January back here and saying buy it. You're probably going to allocate enough at 110. All right, number 2, best trade of the entire world, stocks, and obviously corresponds a bit with EWI in just at least the tech realm, is SOXX up 117%. So just a hair behind EWI. Great looking chart. Topped right there on June 22nd at 656, basically. Very similar, trying to stick the landing here on Friday at 498 half. And here, a bit of a, not a great looking candle in that it's under view up right here, but it's still having an up day, and that's why you get candles that look like that. This one is just... So I trust the 500 floor. I would sell 500 puts. I don't think they're going to let it go below that. I have more belief and faith in stocks just due to it. If you don't know the constituency of stocks, SMH is NVIDIA heavy. Stocks is the field. Broadcom, Micron, Taiwan Semi, you name it. So this is the complex growing, massively. EWI, there's all kinds of things going crazy internally. Hynix, the second largest component of the ETF, IPO'd through ADR, I believe. So folks are playing that as well. There's different pairs trades and dispersion trades internally within the basket. So EWI potentially is not giving the same juice that it once did. Stocks, it's very hard to beat this animal. Like I said, you wake up to a day, AMD, NVIDIA, that's why this continues to go up. Look for this one to hold this 500. I love the idea of selling 500 puts. I doubt it pays. But this one looks like for the next 2 to 3 weeks, not going to be a straight line, but this is going to get to me, in my opinion, to $5.70 or $40 from here. And then should there be more stabilization, I do think the race to 650 is back on for the stocks. So, but first, I am a believer in it going towards 570. Not super convinced it's ready yet today. I want to see it close today above 532. Right now it's at 531 even. That's the second best trade of the year. Stocks up 117. And then number 3 best trade of the year, Biotech up 77%. So this one definitely has some catch up to do. And did we already talk about XBI earlier? No, we talked about its sister, ARKG. So we'll go through XBI, the number 3 best trade in the entire land. Okay, XB Izzle. This group peaked just on the 9th at $166, and then had a pretty quick fall to 149. Today down 90 bips. I love if you're able to pick this one up under $153, that which you can right now. This one's not a yellow light. This looks strong. This had to come down. Still holding 50 RSI. Hell, still holding 52 RSI. I love pickups, honestly, under 153. I will revisit and looking into my position. I'm a breakdown trader, so this is not a breakout just yet on any time frame. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 52 week, or all time. This one to me looks like it will be headed towards 166 or new all-time high in biotech in the next 2 to 3 weeks. All right, thank you very much for joining, and I will try to be back with another video on Friday. Peace.